Hey, I'm Alex from Board Game Co, and this is News and Week in Review, where we're going to go through a variety of news pieces, the games I played, the creator highlight of the week. That's a new segment we introduced last week. Technically 2 weeks ago. Last week we didn't really have a week in review. We had a 60K announcement, or not announcement, a celebration thing instead. But creator highlight for the second week. And then of course the schedule of the week and more. Links and timestamps to everything down below. Let's go ahead and start off with the news. We're going to start with a giveaway over here. So there's going to be a giveaway both right here on this channel, which you can enter, as well as over on Instagram for the same thing, just more chances to win. So the basic idea is if you are interested in going to Pax Unplugged, we are giving away 5 badges to Pax Unplugged 2024. The basic terms for this are you're going to, well, I'm going to select a winner. Those names, those winners will be entered for a high chance of win. Sorry, I should say this correctly. I'm going to be selecting 5 winners, 3 over on YouTube and 2 over on Instagram. I'll give you the terms in a second, but I'm going to be selecting those 5 winners. From there, I just need to tell you that those winners' names are going to be selected, are going to be submitted to Pax Unplugged, where they will most likely win. They said there's a 99% chance that they are getting the thing. So they didn't really clarify more, but it sounds like there's like a 1% chance. Maybe there's some vetting for who knows what. I don't know exactly what that is, but it sounds like there's a high probability that if I select you, you are going to be approved for that prize. Hopefully that makes sense. But basically, to be eligible for those tickets over here, and this is going to be, I believe, for a full 4-day pass, I believe. I need to double check this. I don't see this over here. Let me see if it is. It's a 3-day patch. It's a 3-day badge. 3-day badge for 5 lucky people. That's their terms. I mean, I guess it is lucky people. But over to be eligible for that, over on this YouTube video right here, just go ahead and comment. Sorry. Just go ahead and comment Pax Unplugged. Actually, no, that's complicated because that could do 2 words. Just throw in your sentence, as long as Pax is there, P-A-X, as long as that's there, then you'll be eligible to win on this video. We're going to be selecting 3 winners from this video. Over on Instagram, if you want 2 more chances to win, keep in mind I'm going to be limited to 1 winner, 1 person winning, although I guess if your usernames are different, I might not know. But over on Instagram, if you comment as well, I'll be doing a similar thing. There'll be a photo of probably me from a previous Pax Unplugged with the same giveaway stamp, whatnot. But make sure to follow on Instagram and comment with the word Pax, and you'll be eligible for winning there as well. So that's basically the idea of this giveaway over here. That's the first thing. Past that, outside of that, we have Codenames App. Codenames, which is a game that I've been playing non-stop since I got the app. I have not been logging my plays, or I'd be up like 70 plays or something like that. I don't know. And the reason for that is I only log digital plays if it's like with a real person per se, not like if I'm doing some sort of, well, not the way the Codenames works. I do log digital plays, not the way I'm playing Codenames. But either way, Codenames app currently they have for Essen, Spiel, they have a deal. It's down from $5 down to $3, or I guess from €5 down to €3. Depends on which region you are in. But I went ahead and bought it because I play it enough that I definitely should. I had access to the tester app, but then that ran out, and so I was like, for $3, I'm playing this game a lot. So if you like Codenames, definitely recommend checking out the app. I think it's fantastic. We also have over on Dice Tower, we did a video. I did a video together with Tom, a Dice Tower WSBG video. It's not really focused on WSBG. It was just at WSBG, but rather it was focused on, is crowdfunding waning? It's an hour-long talk of me and Tom talking about crowdfunding and the state of crowdfunding. Is crowdfunding dying? The short answer is no, but there are certainly changes and a little less excitement than there has been in the past. But you can go ahead and check that video out if you want a nice long conversation. Then over here on Uniquely Geek, we have Uniquely Geek. They welcome a new partner. Now, if you don't know who Uniquely Geek is, that might make sense. I don't talk about them a ton, but their video link, their link to the website is in the bottom of most of my videos, because all the videos I currently film are on a Uniquely Geek table. Uniquely Geek was the first game table I ever got. It's one that I purchased as well with my own hard-earned dollars. I say that just because I have gotten some board game tables from companies, but Uniquely Geek was the first one that I ever, before this keeps turning and rotating on me, but Uniquely Geek was the first one I ever got, and I researched it, I looked into it, I custom designed it. In fact, they have a table called the Radcliffe because it's the one that well, custom designed is a slight stretch. I worked with them with specific requirements and they custom designed it. I should be more specific. I told them what I wanted and they made it, and then they're like, hey, we're going to sell this as a general table. But they welcome a new partner over here. They're going to be working with Omni Gaming out of Addy, Washington. They've been trying to expand, and they're working with a new partner so that they can speed up production times, get more tables out there. Their tables are absolutely fantastic. I have 2 from them, a coffee table and a full table, and you don't get to see them a ton in videos, but every once in a while they show up. I mean, again, they're in Currently, my main Uniquely Geek table is in every video, but you don't really see it a lot. You just see like the gaming surface briefly. But they show up in videos here and there. I actually have an upcoming gaming purge video, which I will be walking around this little game room over here, and you'll see it a lot more there. But maybe I should do another full video on it at some point, because it's really a fantastic table. Then from there, we have over here, moving on, we have Essen Spiel. Speaking of Essen Spiel already, Essen Spiel, for the first time in its history, completely and totally sold out. The 4-day tickets for the fair sold out. Now, part of that is they did make some changes as far as how they allocate things and how they distribute tickets, but nonetheless, Essen Spiel is getting more popular. We've seen this with Gen Con for the first year sold out. So in general, gaming is getting more and more popular, it seems, and I don't know what these various shows are going to do about expanding their halls or not. In much less fun news, we have over on the Hel BGG page, the Board Game Geek page for Hel: The Lost Saga, a game from Mythic Games. There's a whole lot of conversation around Leo Vesperina. I can never fully pronounce his last name, but Leo from Mythic Games, he basically apparently started a new company, and some people found that, and they started a whole thread about it. And Leo does respond as well, which is, I think, the interesting part. Leo's Vesperini. Leo, there's a whole response over here. He really goes into a bunch of things-ish. Now, what I'm about to say next is neither a defense of Leo, nor, how do I phrase this? Leo and Mythic Games. I probably should do a full video on this. So I might do a full video. We'll see. For right now, I'm going to do the short version. Mythic Games, I don't believe Mythic Games ever acted with I shouldn't say it. I don't know if that's true. I believe that the overall saga of Mythic Games is one in which a company did not set out with the intent to take money from others in any form of immoral manner, but rather they set out to create products, sell those products, and make everyone happy, themselves and their customers. I believe that was the original intent of Mythic Games. I don't have anything to prove that, I just believe that. Maybe I'm innocent and stupid and naive, I don't know, but I believe that was the original intent. I then believe that there was a lot of mismanagement along the way, and the mismanagement caused a lot of issues for them personally, but more importantly for the backers, the people who gave them money. The part where I'm not quite sure, but I could believe it either way, but I probably do lean a bit more towards the negative. The question I find interesting is, was there ever a point in which Mythic Games took money from backers knowing they weren't going to get anything for that money? It's a very specific line, meaning there's two kinds of mismanagement. There's continuing to take money from backers with the hope that this will turn around and they'll get everything they need to the customers. That is mismanagement and can still be problematic if not done correctly, but at least there's good, noble intent in the process. It does not excuse it. Mismanagement is still mismanagement. But if you took money with the hope that everything was still working out, it is at least better. But then there's a line where you take money knowing full well that the people who are paying that money aren't going to get what they're giving the money for. I don't know if that ever happened with Mythic Games, but I wouldn't have a hard time believing it, especially in the tail end of things. I would not have a hard time believing that there were points in time when people paid money and Mythic was like, nope, we know nothing's happening for this. Now, I don't know that. I'm just saying I wouldn't have a hard time believing it given the chain of events that happened along the way. The complicated part is, and the reason that distinction matters is, if it was just mismanagement, then it sucks, and Leo probably should not be running a company in anything similar to this at all ever again. But there is a line of harassment at play, because this conversation is a little bit about harassment. Like, at what point do you go after someone for something they did that was financially motivated? Meaning, at what point do you let them live their life? And I don't know the answer to that. I think it's a complicated question, because I do think people like this should not be entrusted to be in similar positions in the future. If you've mismanaged all those funds, you shouldn't be able to walk away and start the same kind of company again. You should be able to have a job. You should be able to live a life. The idea of a road towards, not necessarily repentance even, but towards being able to live, I think those things are important. But I also think there is a complication of, if there was knowledge of a point where you were taking money knowing something was not being given, I believe that should be a jailable offense. That line where you take money knowing no one's getting anything, that should be jailable, in my opinion. I could be wrong here. This is just one person's opinion right now. But I also don't know how we prove that. So this is kind of a general, there's no real takeaway here, because I do think you shouldn't harass Leo. I do, personally. And the reason for that is because I don't know whether there was malintent. I don't know. And so if you don't know if someone did something wrong, are you willing to say, not wrong, sorry, wrong is different. There's something wrong was done. But mismanagement, I don't believe mismanagement should result in harassment. I have a hard time saying that even outright theft should result in harassment, but I understand that, I guess, more. I guess I have a hard time ever being the person who's going to harass someone or go after them or try to attack their livelihood in any way, no matter what they did. I have a hard time being that person, but I don't think that's necessarily wrong if the person is still... It's hard. It's very hard. These things are very hard, and they are very complicated to understand as far as what to do when the situation arises. I am sympathetic to what happened with Mythic Games. I'm sympathetic to, first of all, obviously all the backers, but I'm sympathetic to Mythic Games as well. I'm sympathetic to the idea that they set out with a noble intent to make good games and make people happy while making money in the process. I don't think this is a charity case. I'm sympathetic to the idea that things in life can be mismanaged. I'm sympathetic to the fact that weird decisions might be made, not weird, morally complicated decisions might be made along the way while you're trying to save everything. I'm sympathetic to that. The one line I'm not sympathetic to is if you take money knowing that money is never going to result in something being given. But that's a line that I can't prove, and I don't know if it happened. So it's just complicated. Anyways, no strong takeaways, just in case you want to know about Hel, Leo commented. Anyways, moving on over here is Stonemaier Games, the new publisher for all Tokaido products. So Stonemeier's taken over, speaking of failed companies, Funforge, obviously they've had their issues, but it looks like, I don't know what the status of Funforge is, but I know Stonemaier Games is taking over all their brands, and they're not making any real changes to Tokaido past a fairly big change, I guess, which is they are adding a solo mode. So they're adding a solo mode to Tokaido, and that is that. Anyways, I think the last thing we have to cover today is the Gamefound Feast. The Gamefound Feast came out this week, and we have 12 projects to go over. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, but in case you missed the feast, I'm just going to tell you what the 12 projects are. We have Super Fantasy Brawl Reborn. I guess speaking of Mythic over here, we have Simon coming back with Super Fantasy Brawl Reborn. Some actual changes being made to the game, so not just a, more content or a reprint. There's some changes made to the game. We have Jim Henson's Labyrinth, the graphic novel adventures. Don't know much about that. It's less of a board game. We have Earth and the Seas Flashpoint, a reprint and expansion. We have Tatsumi, the newest game from Planet Unknown creator, Adam's Apple Games. We have Final Titan coming from Nerd Lab Games, who brought you, oh my gosh, Mindbug, but Final Titan is going to be like almost like a draft and play kind of game, very different situation. Sounds pretty cool, looks pretty cool. We have Seas of Havoc, a reprint and First Mates expansion coming to you from Rock Manor Games. We have The Waste of Parts from Sky Kingdom Games. This is going to be a tableau-ish building placement of various. There's a lot to go into. I think it's very cool. It sounds very cool, but a lot to explain. Rise of Mythos Cthulhu over here from Synergia Games. We have Vestige from Orange Nebula. I'm always excited about anything from Orange Nebula. We have Master of Orion Ad Astra from Arkham Studios. I was a huge fan of Master of Orion growing up, so I'm very excited for this. We have Hubworld Adeline from Earthborn Games, who obviously brought you Earthborn Rangers. And then we have Dungeon and Lasers Porthaven coming to you from Arkham Studio. For me, easily the ones I'm most excited about here are going to be Master of Orion Ad Astra, The Waste of Parts, and probably Super Fantasy Brawl Reborn. Although that one's a little hard to say for sure, just because I like Super Fantasy Brawl a lot, but I also eventually got rid of it, so I'm excited for the new stuff, intrigued by it, but not totally sold on it. And that's basically everything we have for the news part of this week in review, which means we move on to our creator spotlight. Our creator highlight spotlight, call it what you will. In general, we're doing a new segment on the week in review where I highlight a creator. It might be a person, a company, it might be a content creator, it might be a designer, and today it's going to be a designer. It's going to be John D Clair. I grabbed this photo of him because this is the, I guess I probably shouldn't have because his kid's in the photo, and I don't do kids on the internet. Well, I do kids. I clearly do have my kids on the internet. I guess that's an interesting conversation. That's a larger conversation. Once upon a time, I wasn't going to have my kids on the internet ever, but then there's something fun to do with them. And now I'm getting sidetracked over here. Anyways, John D Clair, Ready, Set, Bet, and one of his kids over here. This just was a photo on the internet that looked most like him. But anyways, I'm highlighting John D Clair because, first of all, he's a fantastic designer, but more importantly to me, he's a fantastic individual. John D Clair, you probably know him from various games like Space, Dead Reckoning, you just saw over here, Ready, Set, Bet, Cubitos, Mystic Vale, Rolling Heights, all of those obviously being AEG titles, which is where most of his game designs do go. He's also done Empire's End with Brotherwise, he's done The Last Kingdom with, oh my gosh, the Tiny Epic series, Gameland Games, done The Last Kingdom with Gameland Games. I think those are the only ones he's done outside of AEG, but he's worked with AEG on a lot of games. I've only just listed a small handful of them, but in general, he has a lot of game designs, and they are very all over the place in the types of games you do, from these big epic sprawling Dead Reckoning games to Ready, Set, Bet, which is like a very, very different experience, to like just card-driven games like Space, or, what else do they have card-driven? Mystic Vale, I guess. Rolling Heights and Cupido is going to be all in their own little vein as well as far as the push your luck aspect. His game designs are very all over the place. He doesn't have a clearly obvious game. Oh, he also did Unstoppable with Renegade, so he has an upcoming game, Unstoppable, with another publisher as well. So mostly AEG, but working with other companies, but he has a lot of games. You've probably seen his name, you've probably recognized some of his games. You may not have seen him before, but you might have. If you look at his BGG photo, he's wearing a cowboy hat. His current hat of choice is a baseball hat, and then there was a point in time when he wore one of those like Newsies caps for a bit. He likes to wear hats very, very clearly. But past that, and more importantly, John is a fantastic individual. He just is I've had the privilege to interact with him multiple times, and he's brilliant, first of all. Something you have to know about him is he is absolutely brilliant. I'm not friends with a ton of designers. I'm friends with a bunch, I guess, but I'm not friends with a ton, but he's one of those people who, he clearly has a very sharp mind in the way he processes things. There are games, like you sit down playing a game with John, there's a decent chance he will wipe the floor with you. Decent chance. Not a guarantee. He's not going to win everything, but he has that kind of precision where you teach him the game, he understands, he processes it, and then he just goes straight to the logic of how do I actually win this puzzle. He has that mind. He has that way of looking at things. So he's first of all created a lot of games that you probably know and like. He's also very sharp and very able to cut to the root of the matter. But then again, to the most important part, he's just a delightful human being. He's the kind of person who just welcomes anyone, whether it's fellow designers, whether it's content creators, whether it's random strangers. He seeks out people to just go ahead and sit down and play games with them, to teach them, to spend time with them. And he's one of those people who, he's not one of those like always has a smile on your face person. I would say he always has a small little smirk that touches at the happiness that is to come, I guess. It's not like there are some people who are walking around with a smile on their face always. I don't think of him that way. He just always looks like he's enjoying himself, if that makes sense. And that may work out, it may play out, but it's just the way he interacts with others is a delight. If you're watching this video and you're someone who's had the chance to interact with John D Clair, and I don't know why I go with the full name, I think I've only ever heard him referred to as John D Clair. I think I'd have a hard time saying John. That's not true. I'd probably call him John. But when I'm referring to him, he's John D Clair. The D is the D is an important part of the name there. But anyone who's had the chance to interact with him knows what I'm talking about. Anyone who's had the chance to work with him knows what I'm talking about. And if you haven't had the chance to work with him or talk with him, at least now you know what he looks like. So the next time you see him at a convention, you can try to sit down and play a game with him, because he's usually very, very, very ready to pop out a gameplay, to show you a latest prototype that he's working on, or to talk about any game, whether it's something he's played or not. He's a fantastic individual and definitely deserving of this creator highlight. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the games I played this past week. I'm going to focus on some of the things I played at WSBG, because I played a bunch of things that I thought were fun. First of all, most importantly, I got a chance to play Lost Ruins of Arnak. The Lost Ruins of Arnak from, well, not important. I played the Lost Ruins of Arnak, the newest expansion for it. More specifically, there's going to be a big box coming out, and they had a prototype of the big box with the prototype new board, with new mechanics as well. Really enjoyed playing through that. Got a chance to not play with Min and Null, the designers, but they taught us the game, and then we got a chance to sit down and play. And I thought it was excellent, and I'm looking forward to when it eventually comes out. I don't know when it's going to be. I think Gen Con, but I could be mistaken with that. But then past that, also had a chance to play Beyond the Horizon, the new version of Beyond the Sun, which I thought was great. I thought Beyond the Horizon was an excellent new version of Beyond the Sun, and I like Beyond the Sun a lot, and I thought Beyond the Horizon was visually better. It cleaned up some aspects of the gameplay. There are things I don't like that I think are stupid mistakes, in terms of game production and whatnot. They just feel fiddly. There's some things that feel really fiddly. We'll talk more about that at a later date. And then past that, I've just been playing a lot of things that I already know and like. It's been a very busy week as I catch up from WSBG. And I've been playing a lot of I don't know, what's called Casa Burgundy, a lot of Cascadia, a lot of Shuffleboard, which if you watched yesterday's video, you already know is some weird new thing that we're going to be talking about. But anyways, I'm playing a lot of general games that I know and like that are easy to table, and learning a few games for the weekend, which we'll talk about at the end of this video. Anyways, that is basically what I have for the games I played, which brings us to the weekend review. Starting off with this past Saturday, we had a gameplay for Sibille, which is a currently active crowdfunding campaign. That was a sponsored video, and then later on Saturday we had a Marvel United unboxing, just going through all the Marvel United multiverse with my son. On Sunday, speaking of kids on video and all that, on Sunday we had upcoming crowdfunding campaigns for the month of October. That's the month we're in right now. Yep, it's a very packed month, a very, very packed month. Everyone's trying to get in their games before we move into November, so this is people's last chance to get into the games before we start shifting to the holiday season. On Monday, we had two back and back going through a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns. I didn't finish it all. I said I was going to have another crowdfunding video later that week, and I just didn't, unfortunately. Just the week is a very short week for me, and I did not have a chance to get everything there, so you'll have more two back and backs coming up this Monday, I guess. It's going it's going to be a busy few weeks as I get all settled and caught up. And then later on Monday, we had an Era of Atlantis preview. This is a preview for Era of Atlantis, a fascinating area control game which you share control of different nations as you try to take control of, well, the board and win. You one winner, but you share control of nations. Anyways, on Tuesday we had a Valheim preview, again sponsored video for Valheim. It's currently on Gamefound. It's based on the PC survival game. Mood Publishing bringing you Valheim the board game. Later on Tuesday we had a sponsored playthrough for Vrahode Age of Prophecy. This is going to be a story, a sequence, a campaign-based game in which you control your various characters, go through the narrative, and in a dungeon crawl kind of game, dungeon crawl kind of experience with leveling up, upgrades, all that kind of thing. Lastly on Tuesday we had a Story of Many preview. Again, this is another kind of a Gamefound campaign, another big box dungeon crawler, currently doing like 500,000 plus, giving you a huge big box of experience with a lot of things to do. On Wednesday we had a games leaving the collection video, standard stuff, lots of games leaving the collection. The hard ones for me were probably Zoo Tycoon and Scarface 1920. Scarface 1920 more so than anything else. That's such a good experience. It's just so hard to table. Honestly, same problem with Zoo Tycoon. Both of them are games that are hard to teach new people and hard to table, but they are great experiences when you do so, but they are hard to let go because of that. On Thursday we had we had Above and Below preview, a sponsored preview for Above and Below Haunted specifically. It's going to be the upcoming Red Raven campaign for the 10th anniversary or redone version of Above and Below. Later on Thursday we had Era of Atlantis gameplay, so that game I mentioned already, that's a gameplay for that. And then lastly on Thursday we had a Stardriven Gateway gameplay. This is not sponsored, with Rock Banner Games, just doing a gameplay together with the designer who stopped by for a visit. On Friday we had 2 videos going up. We had the month in review for September, just going over the month and all the highlights and videos, best games, disappointments, and all that. And then later on Friday, we had a Where Are They Now for September, taking a look at the last 5 years. Was it for September? I think I did it in October, but it's for September, so it's a little late, I guess. The Where Are They Now for September. And then today we're going to have a preview for Sibille going up. Sibille, there's already gameplay, but if you want a preview going up on Sibille, check that out. And then later today, we're also going to have a Story of Many gameplay. So a lot of content going up this week for a lot of active crowdfunding campaigns. Like I said already, lots of people trying to get in their games before we hit the next month. And that's basically it. As far as next week, we should have a video going over purging campaign games. I did this a year ago, and it's time for it again. I need to purge a bunch of campaign games. I got too many that are not getting played, so a bunch of them have to go. It's going to be probably a 2-part series. You can check that out, but the first part starting this week. And then we're also going to have the games I added to my collection in October, because games always go out, games always come in. It's always about figuring out which ones manage to stick around versus which ones don't. That is fascinating to me. As far as the games on the couch, these are the games I'm going to be playing this week, or hope to be playing this week. We have Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle Earth over here. Already learned the rules, ready to go, prep to play, hope to table this week. We have Fairy Ring over here, which was a delightful game I learned at WSBG. Looking forward to playing this more. It's very, very solid, very well done. We have Mycilia, which I just got. I'm partially through the rules over here, so I still need to learn the rules in this one, but I'm excited to play it. And then we also have Snails, which looks delightful, from Galactic Games. Galactic Games. Snails looks like a fun little game. This style of game isn't always a keeper for me, but I think it'll be fun, and we just have to see how fun and whether this one managed to push past and be a keeper. And those are the games I hope to be playing this week. That's basically it for the week in review. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.